Smarter Markets is back here at Boca 50 with the FIA, and we're honored to be joined by Walt Lukken, President and CEO of the FIA. Thanks for making time for us, Walt.
Dave, great seeing you as always.
And, I loved your opening address when you said that we needed to step back and let the magic happen here. So I just wanted to get a sense from you, like 50 years of Boca, what are you thinking about the whole event?
Well, as I talked about in my opening remarks, Boca is evolved like our industry's evolved. I think our industry was much more U.S.-centric back in the days when Boca started. A lot of this was a reward for floor traders coming down to the event in this Florida sunshine. But I think as you've seen, it's an evolution. It's now about really trying to bring together a community to find solutions to problems. And so over this week, people find this incredibly efficient because the whole global ecosystem of our industry is here together, even beyond our industry. I saw folks from Oracle, from Microsoft, this convergence of our industry with technology all happens here. And that's where new thoughts, new ideas come, creativity comes from those combinations that happen here. And so, I talked about in my opening address to let the magic happen. Sometimes you got to give a little space to things to allow these things to come together, to ideas to form. And so hopefully that's the environment we've created here at Boca.
Well, I've been asking everyone we talk to about how long they've been coming here and what do they come here for. And over, I hear the people. And so I was curious for you, what do you want to have people come to Boca for? If they say, hey, it's the one conference I want to go to this year, what do you want them to come for?
Well, like I said, I feel a bit like the host of this conference. And so as like any host, you want people to feel comfortable, that they're finding people that they like to converse with, the right types of people, interesting people. And so in many ways, I'm just trying to make sure that ecosystem and that community is being formed down here. And so we try to put together a really good program. We try to, bring the right thought leaders down here to talk about their ideas and the trends that are happening. And hopefully that combination just allows the magic to occur down here. So that's really what we're after. It is very curated. It's something that we almost took a year for us to put together. So it's great to see the team working. Our team is amazing to bring all this together and see the fruit of our labor.
And I loved, it was an education, your opening address, because I didn't know of so many innovations that had come out of the conference itself. Could you share a couple of those with our audience?
Yeah, no, over the years, this is where a variety of ideas have happened. It wasn't during our conference, but it was part of the Boca Resort, an offsite of one of the major banks where they decided infamously to invent credit default swaps. But we've had things such as, the regulator meeting that we have down here. There's the Boca Declaration, which is the international CFTC regulatory meeting that happens down here. That is still in place today. Its exchanges have to abide by that around information sharing in wake of the Barings and Sumitomo crises. We've had famous early morning counter bids happening when the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME, and the Chicago Board of Trade were merging, and ICE put in a counter bid, and it caused a lot of excitement at the time. Even in the Eurex days, they used to bring big, lavish rock and roll bands and different musical acts to Boca in the day. We decided to recreate that tradition this year with Cheap Trick playing tonight at Boca late night. Boca has tremendous memories. And it's just, I think, a point, an experience that people love to come down to, get some business done, but also have some fun.
And I'm looking forward to the concert tonight. Curious, in terms of the topics that are on the agenda and the conversations happening, what are the big ones this year?
Well, it's almost as if we're exiting a super cycle of regulation, in my view. I mean, I think certainly the elections and the Trump administration is a big topic. And what does that mean? Tariffs, maybe a more friendly regulatory environment, maybe less access to foreign markets. We're very much an open access trade association. So I think people are struggling with those cross policies. But the truth is that, post-financial crisis, it's had a long arc, and you're not only seeing the talks of deregulation. I shouldn't say deregulation, but rationalizing regulation in the United States, but also a lot in EU as well. That EU has gone too far with some of its regulations, and they found themselves in a place where businesses are not interested in doing business in the EU. They're not as productive as they'd like to be. So the Draghi report, the Letta report in Europe, is saying a lot of the talking points that you're hearing here in the United States. So I think we're exiting this very regulatory environment to more of a smart regulation environment. Regulation is important for our industry, but it has to be the right balance of regulation to allow innovation to occur while protecting the markets. So hopefully we're entering that, and that's a big part of the topics being discussed.
And in terms of the people that come, the membership of the FIA, has that been evolving in recent years, either geographically or the types of members?
Definitely much more of an international crowd. A big contingency from India, where those markets are starting to bloom. We have obviously Singapore and the Far East. Europe, there's a big contingency from Europe here. It has evolved into a much more global conference, which we encourage and want people to come here. And it's just a place, again, it has become more of a C-suite organization. So more of the decision makers. I think that's one thing that people really like. It's more the people who can make the decisions about whether a deal happens, whether they can sign a contract, whether a partnership can be formed. So that's really important to curate the right people who come here. And so I wish I could say that this was something we intentionally, strategically created. And there's a big element of that, but it has organically happened over the years that Boca's turned into that. And now that we understand that, we're hoping that we can continue to create that environment going forward.
And I wanted to ask you about the going forward piece, because as we're marking and celebrating 50 years of Boca, how are you thinking about shaping it for the next decade?
Well, again, it's about making sure that we're picking up on the right themes to make it attractive for the next generation. And we're always trying to look around the corner of who are the right market participants to be down here. Certainly, we have traditional finance, and those people are a part of our industry, but we're starting to see, more from the digital asset world. We're starting to see more from the technology world that is servicing our industry. I mean, when you think about what exchanges are nowadays, they're not, trading floors anymore. They're technology companies, multifaceted technology companies. Yes, the important part of that is bringing these platforms together, buyers and sellers. But importantly, they're also servicing, the information that flows from that. How do people communicate around those trades? All the things that they do, the indexes that they build out of the information they get. So we try to now service and see who are the new players, who are the startups. So as you look around Boca, there's not only the traditional finance people, but you see the up and coming exchanges, the new ideas, the prediction markets, a big one. So those are the people we're trying to curate, to nurture, because who knows what they're going to be in 5 to 10 years, and Boca has to be there for them as well.
Well, thanks for having us here to celebrate 50 years of Boca. We appreciate you spending some time with us, and we look forward to coming back here year after year.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Walt.